Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be sewing the halter neckline pattern we drafted in our previous tutorial. So this is the skirt part of the pattern. I'll be cutting 2 half circles for the skirt part. So this represents my 3 yards of fabric. This part is the 3 yards, and then this is the length. Okay, so you fold it into 2. That will be 1.5 on the width. This will be 1.5, 2, 1.5 folded. Okay, and then you bring the upper part of the fold, this 1.5 part, to the side. Okay, to this part you make a bias fold. Okay, I'm doing this on paper so you can see my markings. So you bring it, this is called bias fold, and then we'll go ahead and take our measurement. The gown length I'm working with is 42 inch. The half length we drafted in the previous tutorial was 15 inch. So 42 minus 15 will be 27. So the length of this circle is 27 inch. Okay, so 27 inch plus my 1 inch allowance, that will be 28. Okay, so waist circumference, the waist circumference I'm working with is 28 inch plus 1 inch zipper allowance, that will be 29. So 29 divided by 3.14 equals 9.5. And then my 28 inch for the length of the circle plus the 9.5 will give me 37.5. So the length of the circle is 37.5. So I'll be measuring that, plus, we have added the radius, which is 9.5. So the total length I'll be measuring here will be 37.5. 37.5. So I'll mark that 37.5 all around from the angle. And then I'll connect it. So this is the total length, that is the length of the actual circle plus the radius, which is 37.5. So, and then I'll come and measure the radius, which is 9.5, and I'll connect it. So I'll cut out the radius and cut out the circle length as well. So here I'll be having 2 half circles. Can you see? So one is for front and one is for back. So you take the one for front and fold it into 2 equal halves, and you slash the center front, because here we'll be having the zipper. So this is our front. Okay, this is the front bodice. This is the center front. So this is what I'll be doing on fabric, and then we'll move to the sewing. So here on the half scale, I have infused the cloth interfacing, and on the collar area, after infusing the cloth interfacing, I fixed the hard collar stay. Okay, so on the collar area you can see hard collar stay, or you can use peplum stay. So after infusing your cloth interfacing stay, then you go ahead and fix the collar stay at the collar area so it can be firm. So you do the same on the other set of the pattern, you fix the cloth interfacing on the wrong side. You can also use a paper stay, so you can see this my cloth interfacing hair stay on the wrong side of the fabric. So here, this is my side back pattern. So I'll be adding I added 0.5 inch, and then the side seam is 1 inch. For the side front pattern, 0.5 inch all round, then the side seam is also 1 inch, while the other part is 0.5 inch. Okay, so for the center back pattern, 0.5 inch seam allowance all round, 0.5 inch all round, while I cut on fabric. So here, the first part we want to sew is the collar width. So I'll put the two together. This is my center front pattern. So I'll put the two together and close it up by 0.5 inch. I'll do the same thing on lining. So I've sewed the 0.5 inch, and then I'll go ahead and open it up and press it with my steam iron. I'll do the same on lining. So this is it. I've ironed it, and the next thing I'll be doing is to attach the side pattern to it. So I'll be sewing it by 0.5 inch to the center front pattern. So for the back pattern, I'll be sewing the side pattern to the center pattern, then I'll close the center back by 0.5 inch. I'll go ahead and sew on the front pattern. I'll sew you can see you press your seam open after sewing the side pattern to the center pattern, both front and back bodies. So now attach the skirt part of the front pattern to both sides. I'll do the same for the back. You can see I've press open my seam, and then I'll go ahead and attach the skirt part to it. Here we are still working on fabric. Everything I've done on fabric is what I'll be doing on the lining. So here, this is the front bodies. So the center front, I'll go ahead and fix my zipper to the center front. So after fixing the zipper to the center front, my zipper will be 0.5 inch before the hem, so it won't get to the hem totally. I'll be leaving 0.5 inch at the hem so that I can use the lining to turn the hem. So this is my zipper from the end of the neckline down to the hem, but I'll leave 0.5 inch seam allowance at the hem for me to use that to turn the lining. So I'll be using lining to turn this end of it. So I'll place my lining on the center front. I'll turn it right from the hem all through the neckline and down to the other hem. So I'll be using the lining to turn the center front all through to the neckline and to the collar. So I'll open it up like so, place the lining on it. Make sure the center back joining, that is the collar width joining, matches. So I'll be sewing the center front from the collar down to the zipper area. So I'll place the right side of the lining to the right side of the fabric, matching the collar width joining, that is the center back. So I'll match it, pin it down. And then I'll start my sewing from that collar width joining down to the hem. So I'll sew it from that end to the neckline, and then when I get to the zipper area, I'm going to follow the previous seam which I have used to sew the zipper to turn the lining. So while I place my lining on it, I'm going to follow the previous seam, the seam that I use in sewing the zipper is what I'll be using to sew the lining to it. And I can also sew very close to that seam. So after doing that, I'll come to the other end and complete the other end the same way I've done the previous one from the collar width joining. Okay, so I'll follow this previous seam to attach the lining to the center front, or I can sew close to that seam. So I'll do that, and then I'll go ahead and sew. I'll come to the center back, that is the collar width joining, and sew the other end of the center front like I've said. So we are done using the lining to turn the center front from the collar down to the hem. So I'll go ahead and notch and cut off the excess. So this is what we'll be having after you turn it out. So this is my zipper, and then we have already fixed the collar. So this is the front bodies, this is the wrong side. So now we'll be attaching the front bodies to the back bodies. So here on the front bodies, this is my shoulder, this is the second shoulder, this is the neckline. So I'll pick the fabric for the back bodies because we'll be sewing fabric to fabric, lining to lining. So I'll pick the fabric for the back bodies, and then I'll be attaching it like so, shoulder to shoulder. The neckline goes to the front neckline and the other shoulder goes to the front shoulder. So that is what I'll be doing And the same thing will be done on the lining. Here, this is the shoulder, this is the neckline, this is the second shoulder. So I'll place the back bodies, that is the shoulder of the back bodies to the shoulder of the front bodies on this end. You can pin it down so it can be easy for you. But while you are doing this, you make sure you match the center back, which is the joining, the collar joining on the front and the center back joining on the back bodies. You make sure the two parts match, and then you sew shoulder to shoulder like so. Then this neckline to the neckline like so, and then this other shoulder to this one here. So here is it. Go ahead and do that, 0.5 inch, and then you notch the corners. You can see while you are sewing this, your center back joining must match with the collar width joining, okay? Then you notch the corners. So we are done sewing the fabric. So we'll do the same thing on lining. I'll bring the lining of the back bodies and attach it to the front bodies the same way we have done on fabric. So shoulder to shoulder, neckline to neckline, and the other shoulder to the other shoulder, while the center back matches with the collar width joining. So I'm done doing that, and then I'll notch. So now we'll be joining the side. So this is what we have. We have successfully joined both front and back bodies. Can you see? Fabric separate, lining separate. So now to join the side, I'll bring, so this is it. I'll bring the fabric right side to face the right side. So I'll just bring the back fabric to the front like this. So the right side will face the right side, and then I'll sew the side seam from the end of the armhole down to the hem. On the two ends. So I'll be sewing it, my seam allowance straight down from the end of the armhole down to the hem. I'll do the same thing on the lining. So the right side facing the right side, and then I'll be sewing the two sides together from the end of the armhole. This is my armhole, and then I'll sew the side together. You can start from the lining or from the fabric. Either way, but I'll be starting from the fabric. So after sewing the sides together on both lining and fabric separately, then we want to turn the hem of the gown. So this is my fabric and the other one is the lining. So you turn it out the same way you brought it to sew it together. So you just pull it to the other side and it's out. So this is the wrong side of the gown. You can see it neatly finished. Okay. So now you come to the hem. To close the hem, this is the center front. You open up the zipper. This is the center front. So I'm just going to bring, so after opening up the zipper, I'll bring the fabric, right side of the fabric to face the right side of the lining, and then I'll sew. So I'm just going to turn it like this, right side facing the right side, and then I'll sew the hem by 0.5 inch. That's the essence of not allowing your zipper to get to the end. So the 0.5 inch is what you'll be using to close the hem. So I'll sew that all around, and then after sewing it, it will automatically turn to the wrong side. So to pull it out, you pull it out from the armhole. So you pull it out from the armhole. So this is our final outlook. So you go ahead and press the collar and every part of the gown with your steam iron. So the lining should not be coming out of the collar like so. So you need to press thoroughly. And then you fix the sleeve of your choice. So this is the final outlook of the gown. I attach the basic sleeve. You can choose any sleeve of your choice.